keep finding ways that we're helping partners finding either, balance in their life or focus or purpose.
Practices that are going to help improve your project management skills or your finances.
We're here to talk about setting long-term goals and then how to achieve them.
Increasing your quality, therefore becoming the best place in town to work.
Welcome to Academy Live.
Welcome back to another episode of Academy Live. We are happy to have Juan Fernandez on today's show. He is the channel chief of SuperOps and a good friend of Pax8. You might have seen Rex be doing some kind of symbol just now. We'll have to make sure I get it right after this. That is the SuperOps logo. So we're just so excited to have him on the show. We're going to have a great conversation today with Juan about how MSPs should leverage AI. So let's bring them on. Let's welcome Juan and Rex to the show. Hello. Hi, Juan. Do you mind doing a quick introduction and welcome to the show?
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, you guys. And I'm so honored to be here. It's always fun to get to spend some time with great friends and talk about moving the channel forward. For those that may not know me, and I know that there are many out there that don't, I come from a place called AOL, long time ago as a technician, as an engineer, and I built a number of wonderful things in my life in enterprises and businesses. But in this space in particular, a lot of people know me for an MSP that I built, went 0 to 3 million and learned how to burn it to the ground, and then went back into industry to figure out and got my diploma as an accidental entrepreneur and went back in and raised another MSP up and went 0 to 20 million in about 6 years. And so that being said, I exited, wrote a couple books called the MSP Owner Handbook. I've done some amazing things with wonderful folks and have invested in a number of companies, but the true engineer inside of me doesn't let the problem go. And that problem was something I felt like I could solve. And that's why I joined SuperOps, and I am their channel chief running the US. And so super excited to be here and be a part of this today and having a wonderful conversation about the future of managed services with AI.
Awesome. We're so glad you're here. Can you tell us a little bit more about SuperOps? What does the company do and what's your focus there?
Yeah, the big thing is that we're a all-inclusive next generation RMM PSA. And when I mean all-inclusive, it's all-inclusive. You got RMM, you got PSA, you got documentation, you got project management, you got quoting, you have, all the things that you would hope for, including network monitoring, all under a single house, stitched together with a wonderful thing called AI. And so we've created what we call the next generation managed services platform that we're really excited about. And my role, again, as channel chief, I get the wonderful opportunity to work with product and customers alike and all my sales team to make sure that we're delivering this wonderful opportunity to our wonderful partners in the managed services space.
Excellent. Well, we're going to talk today about AI, and you've kind of helped set us up by showing how SuperOps is using AI to work together with the PSA and the RMM. Before we get started, what do you really, how can MSPs be using AI? How are they leveraging AI from a general sense before we dive deeper?
Yeah, I think it's a loaded question, right? I mean, again, I think, where we're at right now, and we think about the current status of the ecosystem and where our partners are. I think in terms of what MSPs should be doing and how they're leveraging it are two different things, right? I think that one of the things that we're focusing on and one of the things that we're seeing a lot of is MSPs that are exploring this space right now. I talk to a lot of them and I see them doing a lot of things, but I don't know that any of us has our true pulse on what the future of it looks like. One of the things that I like to harken back to is, skating to where the puck is going and, really thinking about the business use cases and thinking about the modern customer, right? One of the things that, I look for when I'm looking to support a customer, even if I was a managed service provider and when I was running my own MSP, is I'm looking for the problems I'm trying to solve. I'm looking for the outcomes I'm trying to deliver. And I think that one of the things that we see right now is we're finding that customers are looking to click their way to success, right? And I think when the managed service provider of today is looking at the solutions that they're providing, we have to figure out meaningful ways and value creations for us to get in the middle of what I call business operations as a service. So when we start to think about how MSPs are using AI, how they're ingesting it, they're testing these theories right now, and it's really a wonderful time because as a builder, as a creator, many of them out there that are listening to this will also recognize this is that we haven't been able to create something in this space for a long time, right? Like cloud came and it was like, oh, okay, cool. I can now migrate workloads from a physical on-prem to the cloud. Then cybersecurity came and we're like, oh, I guess we didn't secure that the way we should have. We got to back up a second. But now we went through this whole transitionary period of securing this now distributed workload world to now this new creator ecosystem of tapping into data. And that's where I think the exciting part is. And it's really exciting to watch what MSPs are creating right now and utilizing based on some of the things. But that being said, how should they be doing it are two different things, right? I think we have to start off on the right foot this time, right? Anytime that we just learn a lesson by running too fast into the night with some shiny new toy and then realize that we didn't execute it or implement it appropriately. And that's where I think we have an opportunity to learn just from the recent past, right? The stepping cautiously into the night and making sure that we're doing securely. And I love the fact that I'm seeing it not just from our industry and not just from the managed services provider lens. I can see everyone just kind of back up a second and say, hold on a second here. Like this is way bigger than we thought it was. Like, hold on, let's actually take a cautious step here. And that's where I think we need to be focusing and where the managed service provider of today can actually think twice before you're actually acting. We're already starting to hear some stories of data being exposed, things that are happening in the ecosystem that are actually leaking out and getting into the wrong hands because everybody's just dumping data into public arenas that are looking for ways to create value and ways to maybe preserve their job or grow their business. If you look at what they're doing, look at what the customer is doing, and then you think about how as a managed service provider can I enable them to do that through the thoughtful use of technology in a secure, meaningful, and easy way. This is where I think the true path forward for the new next generation managed service provider lies. And again, back to the business operations as a service. They're looking for success. They're looking for profitability. They're looking for a number of things. And later I'll share some of these, but this is where I think that the managed service provider of the day needs to think a little bit ahead of just the shiny toy, right? They need to be thinking cautiously about the activation of this in a secure mannerism. And again, our good friend that Matt Lee that also runs the game and Dom, they talk about this all the time. And so cautionary tales, but I think we're doing the right thing. And again, I love the slow, simple, steady steps that we're taking right now that are getting us there.
What are some of the things that SuperOps is like built in that use AI to help the MSP?
Yeah, it's interesting that you asked that, Rex. And again, thanks for that. When you think about, we started off on this path to ask that same question. Like, if we're going to solve it, again, back to RCA, and I look at the problem that we have is visibility into the problems that we have been operating for so long, right? And the repetitiveness and the things. I mean, PTSD moment, right? I mean, computers that blue screen, right? Like all of us have dealt with this problem in the past. It's all been because of something. Now, how nice would it be to avoid a lot of that? And when you think about what SuperOps has done is we've actually created a lot of, what MSPs have been asking for based on that community feedback and said, okay, here's the RMM, here's the PSA, here are all the tools that you need. Now, what if we took all this technology and started to enhance it with AI? What if every time a ticket came in, it was tracked? What if that ticket arrived again? And all of a sudden I could say, hey, look, that's been here twice. What's going on there? Let's say it comes in a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th time. We're dealing with this ticket over and over and over and over and over and over again. And especially if it's for the same customer, they're like, hey, what's going on in my environment? Why do I keep paying to fix this same problem? With what we've done is we've actually made the system smarter to take a look at that and say, hey, that ticket has come in 5 different times. Here is the things that you should do to fix that. 9%, maybe it's documentation, maybe it's a run book, maybe it's, hey, let's set up this automated process within the system to automatically restart the print spooler because that's what's causing the printer to have issues. Whatever that is, now you have a smarter tool that's actually looking at the data as it's coming in. But let's just say that that's the one thing that the system can do for me. That's really cool. But the problem that we really have is how do we empower our people, right? 90% of what we do in managed services is relationship based. We provide service to our customers and we own the relationship. This is why we're valuable. So in the future, how do I make my employees smarter and still give them access to the AI access? Well, if you get all this information, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 20 tickets coming in. Hey, by the way, technician, here is a process and a playbook on how to resolve that issue because we've seen it in the past a number of times. Now, all of a sudden, I'm making the technician smarter as well because I'm giving them a process for success that they can succeed at. Instead of having them go to Google, search, and then find the top 5 answers, and of those, most of them are wrong, right? And so with that, I'm now training the data based on resolution to problems and also looking at problems and consolidating those in a meaningful way. Also leans back to profitability. Now, as a business owner, I can look and say, hey, there's all these tickets going to this person and they're struggling with those. Maybe I shouldn't route those to them anymore. Maybe those are learning opportunities that I need to implement to help them. Let's move those tickets to somebody else. I can also see profitability based on customer. I can see all these things. And this is where AI steps in. Not just there, but in the soft skills components as well, where maybe I have 1,000 threads inside of a ticket. They're long to read through, might have missed a critical step, and I want to tell the customer what's going on. I can click a little button and say, summarize this ticket, and it tells you everything that's happened, all the steps in a very small, easy way to explain. And then you can actually get caught up on that ticket either, or you can actually let the customer know exactly what's happening in a very quick mannerism without having to dive into all the nuances of every documentation piece that's been put into that ticket. Again, time is the biggest component here, and we have to be fast to market. Customers expect speedy service delivery. They expect quality, professional conversations that are delivered to them in a very simple fashion. Now we can take problems and finally make some money with them. And that's what we're doing with AI.
Yeah, I'm super excited about the way SuperOps is just taking the data, taking the context, taking the previous tickets, and suggesting the solutions to the engineers. I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
And we have, as you started talking about, we have some graphics to go along with those 3 Ps that you were starting to mention in your answer. So let's bring up the first one, which
Yeah.
is process. So can you dive into this a little bit more and share how process is impacted?
Yeah, I think, here's the thing, right? When we think about, managed services, inside of managed services, and again, a lot of things that you guys teach at Academy is about process. People buy success, and success requires a process to deliver. One of the things I talk about all the time in a class called Know the No is the no you're going to get. And when no one calls you back is no, I didn't see myself being successful with you. If you have a refined delivery process, you can actually get to profit a lot quicker. Again, you guys at Academy teach a lot about process. And for me, I think we've heard the 3 things in the past: people, process, technology. It's like, oh, I should hire some people to create a process and then, we'll get some technology to make it work. I think it's the wrong way. It's people or process that empower people to be successful, which create great cultures, which create great companies. And when you have a refined process, you have a way and a path forward. So a process is the most important thing. And this is what we built at SuperOps, is a refined process for service delivery. So Process number one. You want to talk about number two?
Yeah, let's bring up the graphic for number 2. Procedure.
Again, I talked a little bit about this a minute ago. And when we think about managed services, again, what are your procedures and your steps to success? Now you have a process, but what's your procedure? How are you delivering on that? Yes, that's what the system does in the back end. Wonderful. But your procedures are what you're doing. And this is where we also help with that so that we have things called run books. And in these run books, you can create all the procedures. You can create procedures around your documentation. You can create procedures around your workflow automation. You can create procedures around ticket issues. You got a ticket that comes in with a little bit of text in it that says printer, a whole procedure kicks off. And it says, here are the 16 steps that we got to follow inside of this. Now that is how you deliver high quality customer service. So that's a tap into procedure.
Excellent. And that was just something I was wondering, and I'm glad you touched on of the difference between process and procedure, because I think in my head, I usually think of those as synonyms, but you really kind of helped explain those differences. So thank you for doing that. And the last one you were just talking quite a bit about, but it's, I think, good to reiterate, which is profitability.
100%. When I think about these three things, these are three things I think that MSPs of the future need to be focused on, right? They need to be focused on their process, their procedures, and most effectively, their profitability. I heard a very unkind thing recently that kind of struck a chord with me. And one of the things that I heard is that most MSPs, and again, this is somebody's thought, was hopefully they didn't just start a business to give themselves a job. And that actually hurt. I had to go back and think about my first MSP and think, I might have done that. Second one, I did not. I built it for profitability. I built it to make money, and I built it to scale. And that's where we have to think about how you actually build your business and focus on those things. And a lot of tools out there give you that opportunity. So one of the cool things about SuperOps is that we're actually really focused on trying to show MSPs where they're profitable, when they're profitable from a customer perspective, who's making you money, who's not, what tickets are costing you money, which ones are you not charging for, all of the things that you're looking at internally to your business so that owners can start making business decisions. So profitability is a key component to growing and scaling, and that's really what we hope that we can provide for our partners.
Well, and I saw a post on Facebook, one of the groups the other day. I can't remember which one, but it said something, and I might censor this a little bit, but it said, a lot of you, all you've done is created a really crappy job for yourself.
See, you've heard this similar thing. It's not just me.
It fired off like this whole chain of conversation. Most of them upset with what was said, but my experience is it's very true.
And it's painful, right? It struck a chord with me, and I built a well-oiled machine. And so I know how much that hurts to hear, because there is a part, again, it's back to the accidental entrepreneurism. Again, at SuperOps, we recognize that we didn't all come learning how to build a business. And again, when we think about this in the future, I want to give you guys a little something for those of you that are watching. We may not know how to start a business. We may not know how to operate a business. We may not have an idea how to grow and scale a business. But the best part is our customers don't either. And that's the opportunity that we have to be transparent and opportunistic on how we're actually building and scaling our business, because we can talk about the things that we're doing in our business that are working to help us grow and scale. And you might just be inspiring your customers to follow your suit. So again, remember, not everybody came learning how to start a business, and recognize that your customers might not know how either. So you learning and pushing yourself is a key component to possibly their success.
Yeah, I've run into so many partners that they look at profitability as sort of like that gift they open at the end of the month to see what's in it, because they didn't create a plan from the beginning. Right. Like this is the profit we're going to make, and then work backwards from that. It's just like a surprise. You lost money, or maybe you made a little bit.
I know. I often call that the hope business plan. I hope I make money this month, right? It's like, It's like that's not how that actually works, right? I had one of those, and I could tell you that I hoped that during the sale of my company that it was going to go to plan, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to work out fine." And then it didn't, right? So the first one and the second one, I planned for it. So trust me, a plan is essential, not hope.
And that's what we're so passionate about in Academy, is helping partners to learn what those processes should be, what's the operational best practices, building from there to plan for profitability. We do have a question in the chat, so I would love to pull that up. Let's take
Yeah,
a look at it.
absolutely.
What are your thoughts on the release this week of GPT 4.0?
Yeah, here's the thing for me. I love what I see and I love all the capabilities that are out there. What I fear the most is that these public releases are allowing customers access around the managed services era. Uh, Here's the thing I'm most concerned about. When I'm paying attention to the technology that's being released, it's moved very fast, right? We saw ChatGPT is literally the fastest thing that's ever come out in the history of technology. It's been adopted by so many, and it's so many people in the US that are using it right now. As much as I love what ChatGPT is and the new releases of it, it's also creating sand under the feet of the managed service provider. For me, when I see that announcement of GPT 4.0 come out, my biggest concern is what's going to happen when my customers can click to success around me, and what can they do without me now? And this is where I think we have to hurry up. This is a hurry up drill for me. This is where I think we got to start speeding up our pace here and actually moving faster to deliver customer outcomes and harness into that technology and figure out what we need to be delivering. Because as that enhances, if we're not pivoting toward the future, we're most likely going to find ourselves in the past. And this is what I see from that signal. Again, it's moving super fast, right? So how are we tapping into the ethos and making it something that we can deliver to our customers in a meaningful way? So that's what I see from it. I know you're probably thinking about a more technical design, and I'll take that offline, but this one's more focused on the managed services industry today. But ping me on LinkedIn, shoot me a message. We'll talk about the technical component of it.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, I know that we're going to be talking to you even more later on, but one more question maybe before we move on to sales pitch is maybe leading up to sales, selling AI and talking to your customers about AI. Can you give us a little preview of how do you talk to customers, or how do you talk to MSPs to talk to their end users about
Yeah.
AI, and how do you start that conversation?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing here is understanding the needs of the customer, right? They all want the same three P's. I gave you kind of some keys here for those that are really looking for them: process, productivity,
Procedure.
profitability, procedure.
Yep.
The customers are looking for the same thing. So as we're implementing those into our businesses, it's really important for us to understand the story and to walk that line to understand exactly our emotions. Like, how did it equal customer and employee success? How did it generate profitability? Can I tell the story of the implementation process and how it's actually transitioning my business and how it can transition theirs? Use yourself as a good injection point for that, because that, I can tell you right now, is a believable story when I can actually see it, right? If I can see that you're doing it too, and you're not just selling me something, then I can tell right away whether or not you've bought into it as well. So again, if you're implementing those types of things into your business, again, document those opportunities, figure out the key components and the ways that you can have that conversation, and then go back to your customers and say, hey, I recognize that these are three things that you're really interested in, and I'd really love to have a conversation with you about it and show you exactly how I did it. And let's see if this is something that maybe you'd be interested in implementing into your business. And that's where I think you can really start to do it. And then using AI to give them those visibility components into their business, into the way that they operate, and just showing them the power that you have at your fingertips, I think is a good sales approach. It worked well for me in my last business by giving them a process for success, and then being able to come back full circle and say, so did you like that journey? because we're ready for another one. And we'd go on the next journey and the next sales cycle.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. That was a great tee up to our next segment is called Sales Pitch with Keith Marciano, and he's going to be talking all about how MSPs can use AI in their sales process. So let's hear from Keith.
Play ball! Today's topic is around AI, and on today's sales pitch, we're going to focus on some tips on using AI to improve your sales efforts. As with any new technology, especially a technology that will probably change the way we do business, it's important to ensure human error or security incidents are not overlooked. Make sure to look on Pax8's YouTube channel for AI security content from Matt Lee, Dom Kirby, and Robin Harris on this. Okay, now that public service announcement is over, let's talk Moneyball. It's a baseball movie based on a true story about the 2003 Oakland A's. General Manager Billy Beane and Assistant Manager Paul DePodesta are real people who went against the normal way of thinking when it came to recruiting players, scouting players, and using data to win baseball games. Analytics is widely used in baseball today, and it was the foundation that really led to the success of many teams, including historic World Series runs by the Houston Astros. With the adaptation of AI to go along with this, improving scouting and player development, picking up things that the human eye can't. So let's touch all the bases on how AI can be used inside of sales. 1. Marketing. Using AI for ideal client TCP personalization, content creation, and data analytics help marketers work faster by executing repetitive tasks seamlessly and perform more of marketing that's working. 2. Prospecting. Once you've identified your ideal client, your target market profile, you can use AI to find and verify prospects, scanning millions of online sources and verifying contact information, building lists to your target client profile, then personalize your outreach so that way it improves response rates. 3. Qualifying. This is a little tougher as people do business with people they know, like, and trust. But you can use AI to pre-qualify by deploying chatbots on your website and on your social media. There are AI tools also available to help you build sales playbooks and build conversation frameworks. 4. Training sales reps. AI can be used to improve your salespeople's skills. Live practice scenarios before you go to a meeting with the prospect to qualify them or to present your recommendations. It also provides scoring and feedback to help improve sales management and sales performance. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. However, if you can use AI to improve your sales, marketing, prospecting, and skill sets to win more business, your IT service company will create your own money ball. It's called revenue. So go look at AI and how it can help your business. Play ball!
Thank you, Keith. Keith does such a great job. And Rex, I don't know if I can just imagine him walking around his house just going, play ball, randomly. Like, he's just so into baseball.
Yeah.
The analogies and things he uses.
And watching Moneyball
So-
over and over and over.
Absolutely. Juan, so glad to have you here. Good to see you again. Thank you for being here. I was listening in and talking about the speed of change. Like you said, we're seeing that right now. The adoption, for example, of ChatGPT it's unprecedented. Like, you look at any adoption of any technology in history, this is just through the roof on what it is. So a question I kind of have is, do you have any kind of words of wisdoms or thoughts just around MSPs staying agile and adapting with as much as technology is changing right now while they're building their, procedures and processes and profit. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, one of the big things is I talk a lot about this is adopting a change mindset, right? One of the things that, let's just harken back to the days where we may have began, right? Think about, and this used to scare the hell out of me. And I'll be honest with you, was death behind the desk. And really what that was is a lot of engineers were dying behind the desk because technology outpaced them. We saw that in the early 2000s era where, people really couldn't jump the chasm, right? When we started to see technology move faster into this, you know, this new world. And this is where I fear the most, right? And it's pushed me personally continuously through my entire career was to continue to stay relevant in terms of the technology and in terms of where technology is going, right? Even to the point that now I get to actually build it, and I will say this, you have to continuously iterate and change. Like if your process, again, one of the things that I used to do and my team used to initially get irritated with me. They're like, why are you giving away our process, man? And I'm like, because the second I give it away, everyone knows what we're doing and we have to iterate and move faster, further, quicker, because now they already know. There's no point in stopping yourself from and keeping yourself in the same place. This is the wrong time. This is the wrong time. Unless you're ready to retire, then it's the right time. If you're going to go fishing and you're going to go drive Mustangs around like me and Rex often do, then by all means, slow down and stop. But if you're not, then keep a change mindset so that you can keep up with technology and stay abreast of the latest technology and be able to deliver it to your customers.
Mindset's a
You know,
great
Juan,
word.
you're in the category of the few experts around the industry that have had their exits and they don't have to work, right? But you're here for the purity of wanting to help the community grow and mature. And I think you mentioned you've been on a couple of live streams even today. Um,
Yeah.
like, what is it that's driving you to just go help the community and share those processes and share that?
I think it's the biggest thing, Rex, that I think is I'm a traditional engineer, man. When I see a problem, I have to fix it. And I just can't go to sleep without knowing it's not fixed. And so again, why I'm at SuperOps is I have to go back to the beginning to fix the problem so that the pain never occurs, right? So this is why I'm working so hard with the team back at SuperOps so that we could actually try to fix all the issues so that the things that we wish we had in business, profitability, productivity, employee satisfaction, and customer success, all of those things can become a reality because the technology finally works for us. And this is why, for me as a community person, again, why I listen to the community so much and get all the feedback to build what it is they like and they want. It's important for us to think like that, right? And again, I'm absorbing change on a continuous pace. I'm continuously hearing the needs and I'm continuously hearing all the things that people wish they had. And that's what we do, right? And so for me, again, my hope is that we can actually improve and change the industry and make it a little bit better for those that are just coming in. And that's why I do what I do, because it's a very big passion for me. You got a lot of us out there that, Rex, you're in the same category, Chris, and team. There's a number of folks that are passionate about helping others, and this is why this show exists and why we're all here, is that
And
I
that,
want
my
to see
friend,
them be
is why I
successful.
wanted you on this show.
and
Thank
I
you,
think
brother.
that's why I'm excited about where you're at, the role you have, and where you're what you're working towards, because it comes very naturally. There's a passion. I think it's such a great outlet for you, being around the community and listening and
Yeah.
giving back. Which
And
takes me
again,
to
I think
something else. Well, just
go
something
ahead.
else that I thought about was the relationships. You were so good at like community and listening and hearing and adapting. I'd talk a little bit about that because I think relationships are changing. What's
Yeah.
different for an MSP in the way they manage a client now than it was 5 years ago? What's changed about the relationships that MSPs have, and how have you adapted?
Yeah, I think we have to realize that it's relationships, and then we talked about this a few years ago. It's customers are no longer customers; they're partners. We talked about the trusted advisor. Like, I'm going to, advise you on doing something back before the pandemic, and then we recognized the seat at the table changed. It's kind of what my background represents, right? Is the seat at the table is now a trusted partner, and now we are business partners, and we are facing an evolution of change that is unprecedented. And it's a fearful time for not only just our partners, our customers, if we will, our employees, right? This is a very new world of leadership that we're entering into. And I don't think that everyone is paying enough attention to the importance of our role right now. We are literally ushering in a next generation of technology into businesses that have never done anything like this in the past. And that relationship, and to paying attention to the psychology around a relationship and why we are so critical, and why what we need to be talking about is both very much mutually successful, and why we need to demonstrate the power of possible through technology, is changing our relationship by the second. And for those that are tapping into that ethos, those that have those good, strong relationships that have already built those bonds, they're starting to see that big success because they trust us. And that's what we really need to focus on, is maintaining that trust by staying up to date on the latest technology, staying up to date on a process for their success, focusing on their business success. These are the new roles that I think we have to start really delving into. And again, don't forget about the employee success. Like, this is the one thing that I kind of see as a trend, and I'm afraid of a little bit, is the shiny glimmer in the eye of hearing easy button managed services. And it's like, did you have that same look when you asked them to fix that printer ticket? Nope. You're scaring them, because if you're saying, man, I can do this much more without you, you're making them feel a ways. And this is where I think we have to be careful from an employee success perspective. Just like our customers are going and looking at these other opportunities outside of us, we need to be moving fast, because I'm sure many MSPs are afraid that this thing could potentially, they could click their way around me. So again, recognize that that's something employees are dealing with too. So I would say the relationship bonds have to forge internally and externally right now in a very different way, and we have to be very serious about that.
And I'm going to throw this out there real quick. Rex, any quick comments about the comparisons on Mustangs? I can't let it go. I tried to let it go, but I know you guys are both.
Hey, we may have the
I'll just
same
open
year
the door real quick.
Mustang. We may have the
We
same year
both have
Mustang. That's all I
66
got.
Mustangs.
Okay.
One's a special. It's one of the special ones. And so
Hey,
he's chosen to leave it alone. The original 1966, where
I
mine
will say,
was one of a million, right? So I'm doing the full technology update, rear view cameras, GPS navigation. I'm putting it all in. Late model fuel injected technology. It's gonna look like an old car, but drive like a new one.
I will say though, come on, we talked about this, Rex. Like, why I'm leaving it alone. Like, why.
Oh, that
Like,
was my
I
advice.
would
It's
be
like yours is
shot.
one of the special ones with the right
Oh
codes
man,
and special options. I would not be messing with that one.
I am gonna go drive Rex's though. He can just cruise around in my like 1966 time capsule, but I am gonna go rip the track with his.
And you know what? I
I think it's good.
guarantee if I stuck my head inside of yours, I would say this smells like a 66 Mustang,
You
which would
would.
take me right back to high school.
We are totally dating ourselves right now. This is
They
horrible.
all have the same smell.
let's let, let's bring it out of this. I think that's something we're gonna have to bring back on the show later. I'd like to get some pictures on another episode. But one, I want to kind of move to another section or question. We do have a graphic. I just want to bring this up real quick. And so the question really to ask you is kind of about, you know, looking ahead, being, a futurist here. What do you see, where we will be in 5 years?
Yeah, this is a heavy duty question, right? I will say that I remember stepping on stage a number of years ago and saying that the world will, the next evolution of managed services is remote because that's where they were headed. I never knew that that was actually going to be a real thing. And I look back at that moment thinking, wow, that's a pretty stark reality. And I didn't realize that was going to take place and there was going to be a pandemic that hit that was going to kind of springboard that whole reality. The world changed. And I would say the world is going to change again significantly. And it's definitely on the forefront. I don't think we have any true idea just yet of what it can do, but I would say in about 5 years from now, our management of what we're going to be doing as service providers are going to be completely different. I assure you there will be AI engineers, there will be prompt writers. There are already folks that are already establishing themselves in that arena right now. I mean, there's going to be a whole new evolution of business value creation that flourishes from this thing. And I just think we need to position ourselves now. Like we need to move a lot faster than we did in the past. We were pressure cooked during those few years during the pandemic that forced our hand. My concern is that we don't move fast enough now to meet the modern need of the modern customer in 5 years because they're designing and building their businesses without us right now. They're building them with tools that are not requiring us right now, and we need to get in front of that. And so my concern is that we are a completely different kind of managed. But again, I think it's business operations as a service as a whole. I'm going to call that out now, and I've staked it. I've even put it in a book called Sassy. But that being said, that's my thought. It's business operations as a service, and we'll be managing businesses through the thoughtful use of technology.
I'd like to throw in there that there's something that's not going to change, and I'm saying this because it has not changed in the 35 years, even though that we've completely recasted what we do as IT solution providers like three or maybe four times. Is our clients, our SMB clients, are going to continue to depend on us
Agreed.
to help them leverage whatever the current technology is in their businesses. So I'm excited that I now know that is never going to change.
I love that, Rex. I'm with you on that. I just my urgency and my call to those that are out there is keep moving, hurry, move a little faster, but step cautiously. Make sure we're implementing best practices as that motion moves forward. But we do have relationships to fall back. We will hold on to them, but we definitely need to be thinking about what it is they want.
Oh no, I mean, I'm on out of the same side of my mouth, I guess. I'm saying what we are expert at in our industry is doing new things, right? And I can't think of an industry that's more expert at doing new things than our industry.
True, almost by definition, and I think you well. I was gonna try to say both of you as if I'm not throwing myself into this not my first rodeo kind of a thing, just showing our age. But we've seen trends or changes before, like you said. Um, but the mindset, you said that early, kind of the beginning, of a change mindset, and I think
Yeah.
I think is important to kind of revisit. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like as far as um, new opportunity? There's a lot of fear and apprehension. We don't know what's next. There's so much with technology. Will we be replaced? What we need? But I'm sure, someone who's been through just, a few times, you might have some ideas on where are maybe some opportunities or ways we can have more of a change mindset to approach this more proactively and positively rather than kind of passive and anxiously.
Yeah, and I think you have to look at like each customer type, right? And it's interesting when you think about that change mindset. For so long we've heard, hey, just take money, or maybe if you were like me in my early business, it's like whoever's giving me cash is who I'm serving. And I think that changes a lot in the future because in order for me to be able to deliver success to a customer, I have to be a little bit more process driven. I have to be a little bit more refined. I have to be a little bit more intentional. So when you start to break down the industry and the customer types, you start to see a trend emerge. And, I often did this, and I have a whole exercise that we do. And at the Super Summits, Rex has seen this. It's called What Your Customers Aren't Telling You. And it's really like, what do I do? What do they need? And what is the overall? And then I score myself based on their needs and wants. So I would say that rate yourself to see, do what I do and I have it documented and the things that I can do well match up with the modern needs of the customer. And if they do, then hey, that's cool. But can I enhance it? Are there gaps in my business that I can maybe shore up? Are there things that from a technology perspective that I could create or empower my customers through? And what would that take to make that happen? Can I make money at it? And that's where I think some of the opportunities are, again, diving into like Academy and really dissecting your business and understanding your go-to-market strategy and understanding the processes and the profitability around your business, I think are key components to what I say move quickly toward. Understand what it is that you're delivering. Don't just grab something off the shelf and say, okay, would you like to buy it? And then say, okay, I'll figure out how to support it later. Step a little bit more cautiously into the future and say, here's a package of products that fit this need in this niche for this customer type and this industry type. And here's how we make you successful business owner. And I can clearly articulate the value and show you those opportunities in the way that you meaningfully move forward with us. Why? Because I did it. Let me show you the story. Let me show you how I went from not being profitable, being super profitable through the thoughtful use of technology using AI in my business. Gave me visibility and clarity and process and procedure and refinement and opportunities. And it was like opening my eyes for the first time. That story is essential for people to hear, to be able to say, I want some of that. If you can't tell that story, then learn how to tell that story. Back up a second. Say, all right, how do I build that story? What's my customer segment that I really effectively serve? How do I make them successful? Again, visiting PAX 8 and going through the Academy, it helps you through those things too. And, really just double clicking on those. So hopefully that addresses some of those meaningful steps forward.
Oh, man, I totally agree. I'm going to go back to that question. Where are MSPs? Where are they going to be in 5 years? And well, I know where I'm going to be in like 5 years and 2 weeks, and that's at beyond 2029. But speaking of that, beyond 2024 is coming up in a couple of weeks. Are we going to see you there?
You 110% are going to see me there, Rex. And I can't wait. I'm excited to join you guys.
So I think SuperOps stepped up in a big way with a pretty significant sponsorship, to the point where, I was in conversations at PAX 8 where people were like, who's SuperOps? Right? And that's sort of like exactly why you guys are going.
Yeah. It's awesome because, here's the best part about technology, right? I mean, a couple of years ago, everyone said, what the heck is Chat GPT? Like, why would I do something like that? Why do I want to talk to something like that? And here we are. And yet now it's a household name that even my kids know, right? And they're trying to, maybe write resumes with it or, do something awesome. My father-in-law is trying to write listings for real estate. Again, everybody knows it. And this is, some things start off with a spark. And we're happy to be part of that spark in the managed services industry that says, who's SuperOps? Well, our intent is to come to Beyond and hopefully show everybody a little bit about what's possible. And so we're going to have some fun, Rex.
Do you have a favorite?
Exciting things?
Do you have a favorite memory? I was going to say, do you have a favorite memory about Rex? But that's too pointed, and I'm not going to do that. But what are some of your favorite?
I have a lot of memories of Rex.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
I will say, here's one of the moments I don't think a lot of people get to share. Again, let's go back to community for just a second. Put yourself in a community mindset hat. And I think I got one of my favorite memories of being around Rex is one where we actually were on a yacht circling the Statue of Liberty. And I had such a wonderful opportunity to take a picture of him and his wife in front of the Statue of Liberty during sunset. And I think back to the community components of where we are in the ecosystem. And I think, these are the moments that build friendships forever. I mean, he probably doesn't remember me taking that picture, and he could probably care less. But I remember
Oh, I
seeing that,
absolutely remember
thinking,
you taking that picture.
I remember thinking, okay, now let me jump in here and get a selfie with these two. But I remember that, and I think back to the community pieces. These are the moments that I cherish because we get to spend a lot of time. We spend a lot of time here. We live here, right? This is like our home away from home. And again, I'm just so honored to be a part of this and to be able to meet and be around wonderful folks like you guys and take selfies of our families in front of wonderful pictures during moments where we're out trying to help the community grow and learn.
And I thought you were going to say something about me wearing like beads and a hat behind a marching band on Bourbon Street, but
Oh man, I wasn't going to call you out. We were having a good time in New Orleans, though. I don't think we've had that much fun in a while, Rex. That was we might have my wives might be mad at us for marching in a parade in New Orleans together.
but that's how SuperOps goes from the conference over to dinner is we get a marching band. So
We get a marching band, and we actually march the streets of New Orleans to create memorable community memories. 100%, Rex. Love that.
I love this. So, one as we kind of, I want to see, is there anything else that you would like to mention? Do you have any, I don't, thoughts or ideas, something you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just one of my big thoughts, and when I think about this in the managed services realm, is right now is a really important time. And it's really important for us to be thinking about where we're going next. And I want to ask every single person that's joining this live stream or watches it in the future, just stop for a second. Just stop for a second and ask yourself, where do I want to be in 5 years from now? And start charting your path towards success. Again, back to that hope business plan, throw it away. Create one that dictates your success in the future, one that you can clearly articulate and say without a shadow of a doubt, I want to start doing these things. These are the steps to my success. If you got to find ways to do that, maybe you ping us that are on this today and say, hey, I could really use some guidance, and go find and join the peer groups and jump into the PAX8 Academy. Like, be serious about your future. And I know that you're not. I'm not saying that you're not. But I will say, just think that one question: where do I want to be in 5 years from now? And no, don't let other people ask you that question. You ask yourself that. Be serious about it. Make a decision. Start thinking about it. Start planning. Start architecting your future of success, and go chase it.
Very well stated.
I almost feel like just doing a mic drop and walking away.
Right.
I've done that once before. Hold on a second here. I have one. Just so happens to have one sitting around here just for that exact moment for you, Rex.
You just props to illustrate a point. What a way to cap it off.
Completely sidebar. I was actually sitting in here from a karaoke machine.
Leave it to
Obviously
Juan to
another
have a
story.
prop handy for the perfect moment. That's awesome.
Yeah, we have to have it. We have to have like an outtake show, and we'll have to take moments like these and topics, and just do a whole section on that. Not ready for prime time, maybe. Juan, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you. Very glad to know you, and thanks for your time and sharing your wisdom and experience.
It's been a complete honor, you guys, and I can't wait for maybe many more.
We'll look forward to it. Look forward to seeing you at Beyond. Take care.
See you guys soon.
And now we'll move on to final thoughts. Boy, that ending, the last say really kind of hit me. It was very poignant, and I really love that. But Rex, I'll put it over to you first. What are your final thoughts from this episode?
Something I've learned in 13 years of coaching MSPs on their operational efficiencies is the companies that have been using the PSAs and their RMM tools the longest tend to be the ones that are least using it. And that's because, when they put these tools in, they didn't have all the features they have now. So they created all these other workarounds. But if I look at a company that just started using a PSA or an RMM in the last year or two, they tend to be using all of the features, and they get a tremendously measurable greater amount of benefit out of these tools and technologies. And all the PSA and RMM vendors are bringing more and more artificial intelligence into the way that MSPs are going to work to serve their end customers. And I have a little bit of a fear that the companies that have already invested in how they use these tools and technology are going to be too slow to embrace AI. Chris, do you have any thoughts?
Oh, wow. That's a great angle. Mine was a little different. I was thinking a lot about, getting philosophical here, the kind of the paradoxes we have in life. And I think this big one about there is a sense of urgency. There is a sense of this is a rapid change and adaptation and kind of the change mindset. But I really like kind of this balance of, and I think something that you'd said, for years, C-level, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And to Juan's point
The
about
racing term.
reflection and knowing where you want to go, I think it's really powerful to, with all this urgency and change, to take some time and reflect and think about what direction you want to go and be very purposeful on, executing on that quickly. Bessie?
Yeah, I think one theme that I was hearing a little bit about was this idea of drink your own champagne, right? So use these tools, see how they can benefit you and your company. If you don't try to use them out yourself, how are you going to convince your customers, your clients to use them as well, and find all the benefits and be able to tell that story of how using and leveraging AI can help grow your business, become more profitable, have those processes and procedures in place to improve your business. So that was one big takeaway that I had from today's show. And I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Next week, one of our amazing partners, Paul Blake, will be discussing building leadership teams. He is also a facilitator for us for peer groups with Academy Coaching. We're just so excited to have him on the show. Remember, we are live every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Mountain Time and on demand always. Don't forget to subscribe and like our YouTube channel. And I'll pass it over to Rex to close us out.
As I say at the end of every show, go ask Copilot, what are you going to do differently tomorrow?
Bye, everyone.